Today, I'm going to show you how to create a fringe trim on your sewing machine. That's right, we are not sewing a trim onto a project, we're creating it with our sewing machine. This is going to be so cool. You don't need any special thread, you don't need any special supplies or feet or anything like that. We are just going to make it with some thread in your sewing machine. I'm going to show you multiple ways you can create this fringe with your sewing machine, and then we're going to add it to the hem of this skirt. This skirt is going to be fringe-erific. To prep your fabric for the fringe, we're going to turn up our fabric 3/8 of an inch towards the inside of the fabric. So that way, on the outside, you should have a nice clean edge at the bottom. And our first step is going to be creating a satin stitch that's going to barely catch the edge of this fabric. But to make sure that we're not just sewing into the sewing machine, we need some sort of stabilizer there. So you can use either a piece of printer paper or you could use some water-soluble interfacing. So I've set my sewing machine up to a satin stitch, and if you don't know what that is, it's a zigzag stitch with a really short stitch length, and I've made my satin stitch as wide as it will go on my sewing machine. So now when we line this up, we're going to line up our needle so it's about 1/8 of an inch away from that fold that we created. Now when you're satin stitching, it's just so important to make sure it's still moving because sometimes it can stop and get stuck. When you get to the end of your project, you can either backstitch or use your fix button. Now select a decorative stitch on your sewing machine. I like to pick one that is very narrow, and we are going to apply this to the left side of the satin stitch. This is basically going to hold our fringe in place later on. When you get to the end, use your fix button if you have it, or add a few back stitches. Now it should look like that. I have my sample flipped to the back. I've got my little snips, and we are going to snip through the threads on the left-hand side. And what it's doing is it's releasing the other threads. We're just going to do this all the way down the hem here. And once you get to the bottom, you can now remove your paper. So just carefully pull the paper away, and it should pop right off. And any of the little bits that accidentally get left in there, they'll come out of the wash next time you wash your skirt. If you have a hard time pulling this away, you can also use tweezers. Now, let's flip it over and check it out. Whoa, look at that. We've got an awesome fringed hem now. Isn't this cool? Now let's try 2 threads through 1 needle and see if we can get double the fringe. So I'm going to take a second spool of thread, thread my machine like normal, and I'm going to take both threads and put it through 1 needle. So basically you're setting up your machine just like you would for a twin needle, but there's no twin needle, just one. So we're going to do this the same way, but since we have double the fun, just make sure it's not getting caught up in your machine. You might need to make your stitch length just a little bit longer. When you get to the end, fix or backstitch. Now we're going to add the decorative stitch. Now when you do the decorative stitch, make sure you're only using a single thread. I find that using 2 threads in the decorative stitch is just too thick and it doesn't work right. Cut it open just like I did before and remove the paper. That double thread looks awesome, but you're gonna have to wait till the end to see it. But now I'm gonna add the fringe to the bottom of the skirt, and I'm going to use a variegated thread with the water-soluble interfacing. And then we're gonna see which one we like best. Now I'm going to thread my machine with this variegated thread with my single needle. I'm going to be using the water-soluble interfacing, and since my skirt is already hemmed, I don't have to fold it up that 3/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to leave this rolled hem that's here and just sew right into it. Okay, let's fringe this up. Ooh, a lot of stitching. When you get to the end, backstitch or fix. The cool thing about water-soluble interfacing is that it's all going to disappear when we put it in the water, but you want to remove as much of this as you can before you put it in the water. The problem with water-soluble interfacing is that you have to use it, otherwise it goes bad and it gets too crunchy. We are going to dunk the hem in this picture here, move it around a little bit, and we are going to watch that. Ooh, look at it, it's disappearing. It's going away. Basically melts away. If you get in there with your hands and rub it around, it'll help it come off as well. So we're just going to rub that around. It's kind of gooey, kind of goos off. And just like that, there's no more interfacing on the bottom of our skirt. It's kind of like sewing magic. It's all disappeared. Look at how cute the bottom of the skirt looks now. I cannot wait to start adding this to my existing garments. I can add this to collars, pockets, cuffs, plackets, hems of skirts, dresses, pants. Oh my gosh, the options are endless as to where we can add this stitch. We can add it to the sleeve of our t-shirts even. This is such a fun way to add pizzazz, right? Let's check out all the different techniques that we did with this stitch. Now let's take a look at these 3 different variations we did today. The top one is with a single thread, beautiful. Second one is with that double thread, double-licious, beautiful, obsessed with its lushness. And the bottom one is colorful and bright. I just love all of these techniques. Creating this fringed hem today was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed learning about it. If you have any questions about it, leave it down below in the comments and I will get back with you as soon as I can. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe to Sew Anastasia and hit the notification bell so you know when all the new videos come out. And if you're in Chicago, come on into the design studio and take a sewing class with me. And if you're not in Chicago, that's okay too. You can now join the Sew Anastasia SewingAcademy.com and take online sewing classes and join the Pattern of the Month Club and join our virtual sewing circle. So much fun! And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the socials. That way we can stay connected and creative together. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye!